Bonjour, with FrenchSpanishOnline.com we are going to see the difference between two verbs in French, the verb entrer and the verb rentrer. So let's see the meanings of these two verbs. First, entrer means to come in, to go in, to enter. And rentrer, the letter R, means to come back in, to go back in, and sometimes, as we are going to see at the end of these slides, to go into. So let's start with entrer. With some examples, come in. Come in French, well, if you think that there are several people at the door or on a formal way, you will say entrer. And just one person, you will say entre. Tell him to come in. So here, tell him, of course, you are speaking to another person. Qu'il entre in French. Qu'il entre. Come in without knocking, an expression you can read on doors in France. Entrer sans frapper. Entrer sans frapper. No entry in French is défense d'entrée. Another text you can read on doors. Défense d'entrée. Let's see more meanings of entrer. Here, for example, my son is starting university. So how to translate is starting, to start university. We are going to use the verb entre. Mon fils entre à l'université. So if it's the first time, because previously he was at college or thing like that, so if it goes the first time, so we say mon fils entre à l'université. An expression, how to translate let in, to let in, let Paul in. In French, we will say faites entrer Paul. Faites entrer Paul. So to let in is in French faire entrer. Another point here, as you can see, there is an S, but no liaison between the two words. Faites entrer or faites entrer, but we don't have the liaison with the letter S, but with the letter T. Faites entrer Paul. So remember, to let in, faire entrer. Let's see now the second verb, rentrer, with some examples. I'll be back at 6 p.m. Je rentre à 6 heures. Is she back? So you haven't seen her coming home, for example. So you can ask, est-elle rentrée? Est-elle rentrée? I'm back to France. Je rentre en France. And you can use this expression with the verb rentrer for any country, city, etc. Je rentre à Paris, je rentre à Londres, je rentre en France, je rentre en Angleterre. My son is back to school in year 2. So here, because we have back, actually we are going to use the verb rentrer. Mon fils rentre, this time en deuxième année, because we can imagine that last year he was in year 1. That's why we use rentre. But if it was the first time actually in their school, we could say mon fils entre en deuxième année dans une nouvelle école. Let's see more meanings about this verb rentrer. As we said previously at the beginning of this lesson, elle ne rentre pas dans son pantalon. She can't get into her trousers. So to get into here, about clothes, we use elle ne rentre pas. So elle ne rentre pas dans son pantalon, elle ne rentre pas dans sa chemise, elle ne rentre pas dans sa robe, etc., etc. La clé ne rentre pas dans la serrure. The key does not fit into the lock. Here we want to say that the key can't go into the lock. It's not the correct key. So la clé ne rentre pas dans la serrure. We use the verb rentrer for that. La voiture est rentrée dans un mur. The car crashed into a wall. So here, again, we use rentrer. So it can be la voiture est rentrée, le bus est rentré, la bicyclette est rentrée dans le mur, etc. An expression, how to say everything is back to normal. We say tout est rentré dans l'ordre. Tout est rentré dans l'ordre. Don't worry. Ne vous inquiétez pas, tout est rentré dans l'ordre. Okay? Of course, yeah, it will be easy if it was always like that. But I have to say that in France, people sometimes mix the two words. and use rentrer instead of entrer. So no problem if you can hear actually some French people speaking wrongly. It's not a problem, it's how we speak. C'est fini, so I hope you'll be better than French people using now the two verbs entrer and rentrer. Of course, if you want to drop me a line, you can go to FrenchSpanishOnline.com. You will see the script of this lesson. See you next time. Au revoir.